Okay, so we're starting Pirkei Avos with Rabbeinu and his Pirush. Now, it just happens to be, there's no such thing as coincidence, but maybe there is, in this time, a coincidence that there's a minig in Klal Yisrael to learn Pirkei Avos, Shabbos Mincha, from Pesach to Shavuos, as the Ramah says, Echel Shabbos, and then some of the minig again from Shavuos to the end of the summer. From Pesach to Shavuos, so starting this coming Shabbos, there's 6 Shabbos until Shavuos. And the idea is that we're heading towards Kabbalas Torah. As we discussed over Pesach, that it's not two isolated events, Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kabbalas Torah. The point of Yetzias Mitzrayim was to get to Kabbalas Torah. So learning the Pirkei Avos, Musar, to improve ourselves is the way that one prepares himself for Kabbalas Torah. Therefore, there's a minute to learn Pirkei Avos in Pesach and Shavuos. We happened to Baruch Hashem finish Mesilas Yesharim the Shabbos before, the Sunday before Pesach, and we decided to do another fundamental limud in Musar, which is Rabbeinu Yonah's Pirush on Pirkei Avos. It's one of the things that Rabbi, the famous Mashgiach of Shlomo Volbe Zatzal, used to say, that in order for a Jew to have the right to an opinion, right, you don't just get an opinion, you have to earn it. To have an opinion in something in Judaism, he has to know Mesilas Yesharim, Chovis Levavos, Ramban, Rashi Ramban al Torah, Rabbeinu Yonah and Pirkei Avos, and Mishnah Berurah. And then a person can have an opinion. So we've done Mesilas Yesharim, and now Be'ez Hashem we're going to do Rabbeinu Yonah on Pirkei Avos. So we can have 2/5 of an opinion by the time we finish this Be'ez Hashem. Okay, so the first Mishnah starts, but we're not doing it out. It's the minig. So therefore our goal is not to finish the parak every week. Our goal is to understand the Mishnayos, and in particular, Rabbeinu Yonah's understanding of the Mishnayos, and it's a very, very fundamental, a lot of fundamental concepts that are discussed here. So we begin. Moshe Kibel Torah Misinai. So the first Mishnah Pirkei Avos begins with the Mesorah, with the tradition. Moshe Kibel Torah Misinai. So Moshe received the Torah from Sinai. Mesorah LeYehoshua. In the future, we should have Sidurim. Everyone should have the Mishnayos because we're going to read it inside. Yeshua LeZakenim. Yeshua gave it over to the Zakenim. Zakenim to the Nevi'im. Prophets, the Nevi'im, Mesarula, Anshe Knesses HaGadolah, they gave it to the men of Great Assembly, and they said 3 things. Before the 3 things that they said, so the Mishnah is focusing on the Shalshelis. It's focusing on the tradition. What's the reason? Why did it start off with this? Because whatever it's going to say in the coming pages is only as important as the source. As the Gra writes at the beginning of his Pirush to Mishlei, he says, and there in Mishlei, Shlomo Melech says that I, Shlomo, wrote Sefer Mishlei, and the Gaon explains it's because I'm only going to give chashivas to what's written in any book if I'm machshav the author. If the author is someone that I hold of, that he has wisdom, then I'll be machshav what he writes. So the Pirkei Avos has value because we see it's from Sinai. It's from Har Sinai. So Moshe got it from Har Sinai. He gave it over to Yehoshua. Why Yehoshua? Why did he choose Yeshua to be the one that he gave it over to? So Rashi says Yeshua had 2 qualities. So what would we say? We would say he was the smartest. He had the quickest tfisa. He had the quickest grasp of the material. Rashi says no. Rashi says that Yeshua had 2 qualities. He had Mesiras Nefesh. He exerted himself to his 100% utmost. And he had a good reputation. So when you're being moister the Torah to someone, and he taught everyone, Moshe Rabbeinu taught everyone, but there was one Talmud he chose to hand over the Mesorah to, meaning he got it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he's giving it to one person now who's going to represent, he's going to be the hander over, if that's a word, to the next generation. That was someone who gave his most, the most effort, he did his utmost, and he had a good reputation. I think we all understand why that's important. In order for people to be makabel, right? If someone tries to give musar, but the ones he's giving musar to are not machshifin as a person who is ra'oi, who is fitting to give musar, it's going to have the opposite effect. They're going to dig their heels in more and not want to do what he says. So Yeshua had a good reputation, and obviously was a big lamdan. The Gemara in Torah says that when Moshe Rabbeinu was about to die, he asked Yeshua, any questions you have, now's your chance. It's your last chance. I'm about to go on to the next world, so please ask. And he said, no, I know everything. I got it. It's all good. So Moshe Rabbeinu had Chalish Ladas from that. He was, he felt, I'm useless now. But Lamaisa Yeshua absorbed everything, and he was the second link in the chain. And then it went to the Zakenim, The Rabbeinu Yonah in the first Mishki B'Torah Sinai, so he has a lengthy explanation of the following. What is Torah? So Torah is not just Torah Shebechsav. He says Torah is Bein Torah Shebechsav, says the Rabbeinu Yonah, Bein Torah Sheba'al Peh. Right? Torah is both, the written and the oral. And for example, he brings two examples how we know that there's a Torah Sheba'al Peh. It says Lo Ysigzol, you can't steal. It says Rabbeinu Yonah, and this is quoted in the first year of Mesechus Bava Kama, which discusses the halals of damages. Right? So the first year always is, what's the source? Where is there an issur to damage someone? The Pesukim say that if you damage, you have to short tami pechatz nezek, shomud penezek shalem, and the shave regel. But what's the source for the prohibition that you can't damage? Maybe if I damage, I have to pay, but I'm allowed to damage. So Rabbeinu Yonah says this from Lo Ysigzol, from Mr. Rabbeinu Yonah. Says v'chol mizakim b'chlal oisei alav. All the damages, the prohibition against damaging someone is all from Lo Ysigzol. Now, how would you know that from the Torah Shebechsav? There's no way to know that. He brings another pasuk. In Parsha Shoftim, bein dam l'dam, bein din l'din, bein neg l'nega. The dayanim have to know how to paskin between dam, a blood that's tamei, and a blood that's tahor. They have to know how to paskin between different dinim, different choshim mishpah halachas, neg l'nega. Now, in the Torah Shebechsav, it doesn't say which dam is tahor, which dam is tamei, but it says they have to know the difference between the different types of blood. So it must be this is Torah Sheba'al Peh. Another proof, if you need a proof, another proof that people bring is from Mizavachta mi b'karecha. Before you eat, you have to shecht. Okay, how do you shecht? What are the levels of shrita? It doesn't say anywhere, I have to shecht. Now, some people come, they have tainas, how come this is us, like that's us? So tell them your tefillin, right? You have an issue with your tefillin being black and square. Where does it say that? Doesn't say that anywhere, right? But that doesn't bother anyone, right? Only when it affects what they feel is what they want to be doing, that's when they have an issue with it. But the first thing Rabbeinu points out is that there's a Torah Shebechsav and a Torah Sheba'al Peh. And then he quotes the Gemara in Gittin Daf Samach, which has a source for it. Ki al pi hadvar ha'ele karati itcha bris. It's through the words, al pi, through the words of these things, these dvarim, I was kairis bris. Says the Gemara in Gittin, it's referring to Torah Sheba'al Peh, that you can't write it down. Al pi hadvar ha'ele. Another Gemara in Brachas, the Torah, mitzvah, Torah is referring to Torah Shebechsav, mitzvah is referring to Torah Sheba'al Peh. So the first point that Rabbeinu Yonah tells us about is the fact there's a Torah Shebechsav and a Torah Sheba'al Peh. We have to be aware of both. That's number one. And then he quotes Pesukim, how we know that Moshe Rabbeinu handed down to Yeshua to the Zekanim to the Nevi'im, and the Nevi'im finds the Anshe Knesses HaGedolah. Okay, that's the first half. So we know there's a Mesorah, a very clear Mesorah. If you look at the Rambam in his Hakdama to Yad HaChazaka, he actually goes through the entire Mesorah, from Moshe Rabbeinu down to Ravina and Rav Ashi. Ish mipi ish. And there are those who have traced it from Ravina and Rav Ashi down to us today. So you can see, if you add in your Rosh Yeshiva, your Rebbe and his Rebbe, you can get back probably to someone from a pre-World War II Europe Rosh Yeshiva, and from them you can go back to Moshe Rabbeinu. One of my Rebbeim once handed out a piece of paper with, I guess, from him to his Rebbe and then to the, whoever it was, because it was a Chaim, and then back to Moshe Rabbeinu. You're supposed to put your name in the bottom. So you can see how you connect back to Moshe Rabbeinu. Heim Omru Shloisha Dvar. So the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah said three things. Now they said many things. What does it mean they said three things? There are three things that were of importance to them. I mean, everything was important, but three main things they would say again and again. Number one, have a misunim bedid. A person has to be calm, has to be thought out when it comes to specifically passing a halacha. Has to be thought out. V'hamidu salmidim harbe. He has to have many talmidim. He has to have many talmidim. V'osu siyag l'Torah. And he has to make a fence to the Torah. He has to not just be mistapic with the halachas. Okay, I can't light a fire on Shabbos. I'm not even going to touch matches on Shabbos. So he has to make a siyag l'Torah. Rabbeinu explains how the Misudim Medin is primarily talking to the Moirei Hora. He's talking to people who are passing shilas. And it's a very choshev yisod. He says that a person should not be soymech on his machshava rishayah. He shouldn't rely on his first thought. A shilah comes up. Now this can apply to anything in life, not just halacha. A shilah comes up, what to do, and a person has a first thought. So I once heard from a Vleichter, heard from a Volbi, heard from a Biruchim, talking about Mesorah, that the first thought you have in how to deal with a certain issue, the Yetzer Hara is usually involved in that thought. Now it doesn't mean that's the wrong one. It could be that's the right one. But if you're very careful with your initial reaction, your initial leaning in any shayla, whether it's how to deal with a kid, whether it's how to deal with some issue in shul, which doesn't happen in this place. There are no issues here, Baruch Hashem. But when anything it comes to, your first initial thought how to deal with it, that if there's a Yetzer Hara involved, he's going to be involved there. It says the Rabbeinu Yonah, don't be soymach, don't rely on your first machshava. Ach b'hamtana gedoyla v'in hadeh. Wait, hamtana gedoyla, be very thought out and analyze properly. He says if a person passes a shayla, and the same with anything in life, without being calm and giving it some time to think about it, he's karav l'mezid. It's almost, he's intentionally making the wrong decision. If you ask me a question and I answer right away like that, and it's something that requires thought, that's almost intentionally making a mistake. Says the Rabbeinu Yonah, ki hatos b'chol adam davar matzihu. Mistakes are very common in all people. Some people think that they cannot make mistakes. Give you an answer like that, right, on the spot. No, this is for sure right. Says the Rabbeinu Yonah, hatos b'chol adam davar matzihu. It's a very common thing. People make mistakes. So he says the person has to be very thought out. Ki b'machshava hashniya, with his second thought, yira mashle rabbi rishona. For sure, he's going to see things he didn't see with his first machshava. Right. So when the shayla comes up, I think I have all the facts, all the details. I know what to do. But when I think about it, I come back to it tomorrow. If there's time to think about it, come back to it tomorrow, and for sure you're going to have another thought. That's what Chaim said. That the definition of bikiyas, Chaim salvation, bikiyas, is you ask the questions, you don't give answers. It says if you chazer a Gemara and you have no new questions, that's not called chazering. You're just reading a dictionary, you're just reading an encyclopedia, a phone book, you're just going through it. Not, right? If you don't have a new question, means you're not thinking about it. It's not possible. I went through sugya once, and I went through it again, and I have no questions. If I have no new questions, I didn't learn it again. So, b'machshava shniya, you're always going to see something more the second time around than the first time around.
Okay. So, Rabbeinu Yonah is saying this was intentionally written for the Anshiknas Hagadolah because it came not for the general klal?
Yeah, this is written for the Moirim Hoiros the Poskim Asadin Om. But I think we can apply it, and we'll see later on in the Pirush, we could apply it to anyone. I mean, it's specifically written, and he'll explain why it's specifically for them. Having the student B'din, Din is referring to a Din Torah, in Halacha. But he goes on to say that why is it specifically for the Mari Hora? Because the Pasuk in Yirmiyah says, Haskel v'yadoya oisi keni Hashem, you should know me, you should know HaKadosh Baruch, we have an obligation to know Hashem, keni Hashem oisi chesed, mishpat u'tztaka b'aretz. I do chesed, mishpat, and tztaka in the land. How can you know HaKadosh Baruch? It's impossible to know Hashem. It's not possible. And with this we can know Hashem, but also it's din mishpat. If a person paskins a din la'amito shel davar, he passes din truthfully, then he's going to know, that's how you know Hashem. So this is what keeps up the world, he goes on to say, it supports the world. Passing a din la'amito supports the world. That's why it's the first thing they say here. But the concept of having misunim b'din applies to everything. It applies to any shayla a person has in life, of course, and the whole spectrum of a misunim b'din applies. That's the first thing. The second idea is hamid with samidim harbe. One should have many students. In other words, you don't just teach 1 or 2 or 3 prize students and you're happy with that. A person has to have many, many talmidim. He says this fits with Beis Hillel's philosophy in education as opposed to Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai said, "Ein melamdin el talmid hagun." Only teach a talmid, a student who's hagun, who's appropriate. He's a Yerushalayim, and he's a Tsanua, and he's a Chacham. I'm very selective with my students, and I only teach a certain type of talmid. Whereas Beis Hillel said, teach anyone. Melamdin l'chol adma, teach anyone. Meya, I'll teach 100. Sheyetzu asar tovim, that 10 come out good. 10 that 2 come out good, and 2 I'm not sure which one will come out good. So I'll teach 100 students. That 99 will be to an extent, nothing is a waste, but to an extent a waste. That 1 will come out and be able to carry on the banner of Torah, teach 100 talmidim. That being said, we say derech eretz kadmul l'Torah. So if a person is looking to learn just to be makanta, just to cause problems, what we do, the Rasha, we just said a week ago, the Rasha, when he asks his question, it's hakei shinav, you don't even talk to him. Sometimes chinuch is not talking to the person. But l'maisa, according to Beis Hillel, we're not going to give evaluations to each time. We're going to teach anyone who wants to come and learn and who's somewhat earnestly. So that's how the tradition is done like Beis Hillel. And then he quotes the Gemara in Yuvamis, you should sow your seeds in the morning, and in the evening you shouldn't relax because you don't know which wheat is going to grow properly. Same with Talmidim. Don't ever be too confident that what I've done is going to grow. I should always do more. Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 Talmidim, and every single one of them died. Right? The Gemara brings this pasuk. It's apropos. But then he had 5 more. Then he was miming 5 more afterwards, and he started again. So his 24,000 Talmidim are all gone, and he started again. The third thing they say is make a fence around the Torah. That's because, says Rabbeinu Yonah, the Iker, the source is a pasuk in Vayikra, in Achrei Mos. Mishmartim es mishmarti. You have to guard my guard, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. Also mishmeres the mishmarti. Gemara Yevamah says, you have to make a mishmeres the mishmarti. You have to make a fence around the mitzvahs. He explains that a fence around the mitzvah to an extent, look at a certain angle, is more important than the mitzvah itself. We just read in Shiur yesterday. Ki toivim doidecha miyayin, chavivin divrei chachamim miyena shel Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mechaviv. He loves the divrei chacham, the rabbanans, more than the yena shel Torah. The Vilna Gaon would make a shal shudis on the last day of Pesach, even when it wasn't Shabbos, because he held that achilas matzah every day of Pesach is a mitzvah. He dafka do on the 8th day. He didn't do on the 7th day. The 7th day is the last day of Pesach midaraisa. You can chap around more mitzvahs matzah daraisa, but the Gro was very careful with the rabbanans. He wore, if he did on the 8th day of Pesach, which only midarabanan. That's when he had his shal shudis to chap around more mitzvahs matzah. He wore a cotton bagged of tzitzis. He's very makbid. Why? Because it's only chayiv midarabanan. Why is that? Doesn't make sense. Of course, the deraises are more important. Why do deraises have a certain chavivus that deraises don't have? Because that shows the yira. That shows the yiras Hashem. If a person keeps the mitzvah, doesn't keep a mitzvah, okay. So when he does, when he can, he does. When he can't, he doesn't. If a person sets up gedarim, if he set up these fences, that shows that I care. Now, if I'm nichshol, okay, so I have to fix my fence, make a better fence. But the fact that I set up a fence shows that I care, and I'm scared to violate the mitzvahs, and I care about it. If a person doesn't set up any fences, but he happens to keep all the mitzvahs, and another yid sets up all these fences, but he's a massive yitzhara, and he's always violating. In Hashem's eyes, to an extent, the latter is in a higher level. Because he cares. The other guy happened to keep it. So of course he gets scarred for all his mitzvahs, and he didn't eat the non-kosher food, so therefore it wasn't plaguing his nefesh. But the yid who ate non-kosher food, but he kept on putting up fences, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees there that he loves the Torah, he loves Hashem. As we spoke out Rosh Hashanah time, for those who remember, the Gemara in Sukkah, the Goyim came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they're going to come to Hashem in the end of days and say, it's not fair, you didn't give us the Torah. Right? It's not fair. I'll give you a mitzvah. Gave him Sukkah, and made it very hot, and they left the Sukkah. So they failed. So the Gemara says, well, why would they fail? It's star patim in a Sukkah. If it's too hot, you could leave the Sukkah. Why'd they fail? No, they kicked the Sukkah on the way out. They kicked it. They shouldn't kick it. So Hashem failed them in the dedication to mitzvahs when they were patim. He didn't test how nicely made their Sukkah and the decorations and how mahudr all the lachas were. And they have to be mahudr. You have to make a Sukkah very mahudr. You're asking very mahudr. But the real test about the dedication to the mitzvahs was when they were patim. It's how you act when you're not fulfilling the mitzvah that really shows a person's fear of the mitzvah, his approach to the mitzvahs. 3 things. Always think it over again. Never be too confident in your first opinion. Hamidu Tamidim Harbe. Never rest on your laurels that, I already have 100 students, I'm fine. Always have to push yourself. And also, the Torah. Always put up a fence to the Torah.